Ready to crank up the volume and travel back in time? We're diving deep into the heart of the 90s Israeli rock scene, and trust me, this isn't your average history lesson.
Not at all.
Yeah.
We're going beyond the dusty textbooks and grainy video footage. This deep dive is fueled by pure, unfiltered memory.
The memories of Yael Cohen, drummer for the iconic all-female rock band, The Witches.
And she's not just sharing her story with anyone. It's on her own website. A space where she controls the narrative, that personal touch. It makes all the difference.
Big time. It's like we've stumbled upon her personal journal, filled with handwritten notes, faded band photos, maybe even a guitar pick tucked between the pages.
I love that image. And that's what makes this deep dive so exciting. We're getting an intimate glimpse into a time and place that was bursting with creative energy.
And it all starts in a place that practically pulses with the spirit of 90s rock and roll, a club called Roxanne.
Ah, Roxanne. Just hearing that name probably brings back memories for a lot of our listeners.
Definitely. Yale describes it as the place to be for any band trying to make it in Tel Aviv. She even compares it to legendary clubs like CBGB's or the Whiskey A Go-Go.
The energy, the history of those iconic stages that have seen it all. It makes sense that Yale would start her story there.
Exactly. Now, picture this. It's a Tuesday night, the air is thick with cigarette smoke. It was the 90s after all. And Yale has just finished playing 3 back-to-back sets with 3 different bands.
3 sets. This woman is a machine. Talk about dedication.
Right. She's exhausted, exhilarated, and probably in desperate need of a drink.
Cue the Diet Sprite.
Huh. I can practically see her now, leaning against the bar, trying to catch her breath, when suddenly she's approached by a woman with short blonde hair.
This is it. This is the moment everything changes. Enter Yifat Metz.
The catalyst for Yale's journey with the Witches.
Yifat, who just happens to be a bartender at Roxanne, sees Yale, recognizes her raw talent, and thinks, my band needs a drummer.
And just like that, fate steps in.
It's like something out of a movie. You can practically hear the record scratch as their eyes meet.
But hold on a second, it's not love at first sight. Yale's a bit hesitant about joining another all-female band.
Understandable. She's been there, done that, and it hasn't always been a great experience.
So what happens next? Does Yale run for the hills?
Not quite. Remember, she's just played 3 sets in a row. She's tired, maybe a little less guarded than usual.
And Yifat, bless her soul, isn't pushy. She just hands Yale a piece of paper, a phone number scribbled on it, and says,
"Give us a call. We're the Witches, and we're looking for a drummer."
Short, sweet, and to the point. But something about it resonates with Yale.
Sometimes all it takes is a little nudge, a voice whispering, "Why not? What have you got to lose?" Luckily, Yifat's friend was there to offer that exact advice.
And it works. Yale takes a chance, tucks that piece of paper into her pocket, and heads home.
Little does she know that this one small act of bravery, this one phone number, is about to change everything.
Okay, so Yale's got this phone number right.
Huh.
But remember, she's still not entirely convinced about this whole all-female rock band thing.
She's got her guard up for sure.
Totally. But curiosity gets the better of her, and she ends up giving Imbal, the Witches' leader, a call. Well, even over the phone, Yale senses something special about Imbal. There's this energy, this confidence that's impossible to ignore.
The kind of energy that makes things happen.
Exactly. So they agree to meet, and Yale finds herself on the way to Inbal's house in Rehovot. Now, remember that name, Rehovot, because it's going to come up again later in Yale's story. But anyway, she walks into Inbal's place, and it's like stepping into another world.
A world where music reigns supreme.
Absolutely. Yale even mentions that Inbal's mother is incredibly welcoming, which, let's be real, always makes a difference.
Oh, for sure. Especially when you're about to jam with your potential new bandmates. It's like, okay, cool moms, good sign.
Right. Instant good vibes. But there's no time for tea and biscuits. Inbal's ready to get down to business, so she pops a cassette tape into, get this, a cassette player.
Whoa, hold up. A cassette tape. That's some serious old school cool right there.
Talk about a blast from the past. And it's not just any cassette tape. This is the Witches demo.
The one that will determine Yale's fate. No pressure or anything.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Yale is very upfront about the fact that this demo was, well, rough.
As in?
As in, not exactly radio ready. Think missed notes, off-key vocals, maybe a rogue drumstick flying across the room.
Ah, the charming imperfections of a raw demo.
Yeah.
It's like that first pancake you make. A little wonky, but full of potential.
I like that. But seriously, how many times have we heard about a band getting their big break because someone heard past the imperfections and saw the potential in that raw, unpolished sound?
Countless times. It's the music equivalent of seeing a diamond in the rough.
And that's exactly what happened with Yale. She wasn't fazed by the less than perfect recording quality or the occasional off-key note.
She heard the magic, the raw energy that would later become synonymous with the witch's sound.
It's like that feeling you get when you stumble upon an amazing vintage record in a dusty old shop. You just know you've found something special.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that true talent, that spark, isn't always polished and perfect. Sometimes it's a little bit rough around the edges.
And in this case, those rough edges, they were pure gold. So we're back in that room in Rehovot, cassette tape spinning, and Yale's feeling it. But it's more than just the music.
Right. There's a connection happening here, a shared energy that goes beyond the notes on the page. Yale even mentions driving around with in-ball, windows down, blasting music.
Oh, I love that. It's such a classic image of musical bonding. Just two people, their favorite tunes, and the open road.
Exactly. And it's in those moments, those shared experiences, that something special starts to take shape.
It's like they're building a world together, brick by musical brick.
A world where anything is possible, where three young women can take the stage and blow everyone away with their raw talent and infectious energy.
And that's exactly what happens at their first gig at Roxanne.
Talk about a full circle moment. From a hesitant phone call to owning the stage at the most iconic club in Tel Aviv.
It's like a rock and roll fairy tale.
Uh.
But let's not forget the historical context here. This is early 90s Israel, an all-female rock band that was practically unheard of.
They were pioneers, blazing a trail for other women in music.
Yeah.
And they didn't let anything hold them back.
Absolutely. They had that DIY spirit, that relentless drive to make their voices heard, putting up posters, spreading the word, hustling to get their music out there.
They even sent that rough around the edges demo to Karine Alal, one of the most respected producers in Israel.
Talk about a power move. They were like, this is our sound, love it or leave it.
And luckily for us, Karine Alal loved it. She saw their potential, their raw talent, and she helped them shape it into something truly special.
And that's when things really started to take off. Gigs, interviews, the Kinneret Festival, it all happened so fast.
A whirlwind of success. But even as they were thrust into the spotlight, they never lost sight of themselves.
They were very intentional about maintaining their privacy, keeping a clear separation between their public and private lives.
A smart move, especially in the music industry, where it's easy to get swept up in the hype.
For sure. But even though they kept their personal lives under wraps, their music spoke volumes. It was raw, emotional, full of social commentary.
They weren't afraid to tackle the tough topics, to use their voices to speak out against injustice.
And then there were those legendary live performances. The shoe-throwing incident, the rabbi joining them on stage, these stories have become the stuff of legend.
Moments that capture the raw power of music, its ability to break down barriers and create connections in the most unexpected ways.
It's been an incredible journey, hasn't it? From a hesitant phone call to a cassette tape to sold-out shows and unforgettable stories.
The story of the witches is a reminder that sometimes the most powerful voices are the ones that are least expected.
The ones that dare to be different, to challenge the status quo, and to make a whole lot of noise along the way. So, next time you're feeling stuck, remember Yale Cohen and the Witches.
Find your people, trust your instincts, and don't be afraid to turn up the volume on your own unique voice.
Beautifully said. This has been an incredible deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the music playing.